I'm Heather North from heatherscreativeblessings.com, and today I am guest blogging over at Catherine Puller's blog. So if you're joining me from there, I just want to say hi. Thank you, Catherine, for having me. I have been creating the weekly challenges over at Stamp Nation for the past year, as well as creating for the Inspired By classroom. So I thought I would share kind of an Inspired By tutorial with you today over on Catherine's blog. It starts with this piece of fabric and the coordinated fabric with it and the paisley designs here. Now, I'm often inspired by the world around me and the images and the things that I see to create. So in this case, I thought, wonder if I could create kind of a paisley background that pops through like that lacy pattern did on my cardstock. I'm starting with a piece of that bright white paper that was included in the foundations box. I boo-booed on the back side. So what I did was I just cut it down. This panel is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm using the back side of it. And this is Orange Twist ink by Catherine Puller Designs, and I'm using a mini distress tool from Tim Holtz. I just threw down a few orange spots. Now I'm pulling in my green. Now orange and green don't really mix, so I'm trying to be careful to not have those colors overlap. Blue and green, like this Fiesta blue and the grass skirt, they do mix pretty well, so I am letting those overlap. But again, I'm trying not to get too much of that blue into the orange. And then I'm going to pull in the rocking red. Now the rocking red looks really good over the blue. It turns into a purple, and it also looks good with the orange. It, however, does not look good with the red. So again, I'm just blending and I'm adding different spots of color. I'm trying not to overlap colors that don't really look good together, that they don't blend together, but I also really wanted the contrast of using all these colors. And in the end, because we're going to be covering it up with some black ink, it's okay if I get spots that don't quite look perfect. It's important to keep a baby wipe nearby because you're going to get ink all over your hands like I did, and I'm just kind of cleaning it off with that. I'm going to be doing some embossing, so my next step is to take a deactivator tool and deactivate any static or oils from my hands off of my cardstock. When I saw that paisley floral pattern in the first fabric I showed you, I instantly thought of this beautiful world stamp set. I think that most of the images in this stamp set would work, but this particular flourish is awesome. So what I did was I took Versamark ink, I stamped it in the center first, and then I'm stamping around that center image, turning my block so that I get different parts of this floral flourish thingy all over my page. And then I'm going to take some clear embossing powder. Now this is actually my second video doing this because the first time I accidentally put white all over it, and I'll show you that at the end of the video. It actually looks really pretty. It kind of reminds me of the second piece of fabric that I showed you. So I'm just melting that embossing powder with my heat gun, and you can tell it's melted because it turns from kind of a powdery white to a clear gloss, and you can kind of see it when I put it in the light. Isn't that pretty? Depending on the colors you use, you could even use this as your background piece, but I want to take more of that inspiration from my fabric. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling in the Midnight ink. This is also from Catherine Puller Designs, and my sponge that I've cut into a wedge, and I'm just sponging over the entire piece of cardstock. The embossing powder that has melted will resist that ink, and you see the sponging we did shine through. Isn't that pretty? I just took a soft tissue to wipe off any ink that might be on top of the embossing powder. I decided that I wanted a ribbon to match that grass skirt green, so I'm going to take this taffeta ribbon from Stampin' Up, and I'm just going to do it a couple of ways. You can go directly to your ribbon with your ink pad, or you can put the ribbon onto your ink pad and use the Distress Ink tool to kind of press it down into that ink as you pull it and slide it across the top of your pad. This gets it a little bit lighter shade of color. I don't care that my ribbon is not one solid color, that there's some variation to it. In fact, that's what I wanted. But if you want it to have one solid color, choose one technique or the other. You could also use re-inker to color your ribbon. So if you have any of that on hand, that's a great way to add solid color. For my sentiment, I cut out a piece of that same cardstock with the Mary label die, the smaller die, and I'm going to take the sentiment from Butterfly Notes by Catherine Puller Designs and do Thanks for Being Awesome. You could do almost any sentiment on this card. This would make a great sympathy card. I thought about doing that. Or even just the thank you and that really pretty script from Butterfly Notes. I'm going to trim my card panel down 1/4 of an inch on 2 sides, so it's going to end up being 4 by 5 1/4, and this way the white border will show around from the card base, and that kind of ties in with the white of the label. I trimmed down my ribbon just a little bit, and I'm going to adhere both ends of the ribbon to the back side of my card, and then I kind of found the middle place and cut it in half. Then I took a piece of foam mounting tape and I just cut it in half so that one piece goes at the top of the label and one piece goes at the bottom, and then the ribbon can slide underneath this in between those 2 foam tapes. I'm just going to tie that ribbon into a knot and trim off the ends. And then I'm going to take some 3M mounting tape and just pop this up on my card base, centering it in the center of that card. I'm going to show you here the first piece that I made that I messed up with. I'm going to take some of that extra space and I'm going to die cut out a little butterfly. I think this is Enchanted Butterfly. I'm not sure. I'll have a supply list down below. And then I'm going to take some sparkling clear sequins and kind of spread them on my card base to give this card even more movement. I'm going to take that panel that I messed up, and I guess it's not really messed up, that I did in white instead of clear, and I'll turn it into a second card and put it over on my blog today. So if you want to check that out, go and click on over. Thank you so much, Catherine, for letting me come and play on your blog today. I had so much fun, and I hope to do it again soon. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more from me. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you find some time today to get a little creative. Bye!